Hey folks, good morning. Welcome back to 3's In. So I'm going to take the opportunity here to offer my February church notes, if you will. Some things I've been thinking about, some things that have been asked about on in the comments sections, and some observations and so forth. So, first of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that I now have 380 subscribers, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. I just enjoy the hell out of seeing you come on board. So I hope these stories are stories you can relate to. I hope they're stories that maybe you find comfort in. Some of them you can laugh at. Go ahead and laugh at me. I do all the time. At any rate, it's just so nice to see everyone. One of the viewers asked if we taught ground attack in pilot training. No, we did not. That was not one of our syllabus items, nor something we wanted to do at that stage. We were just trying to help the students find the runway to begin with. And on a typical contact ride, we'd fly maybe 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 overhead patterns. And attacking the runway was exciting enough for us. So I was real comfortable with that. Now, I will take an aside here. When I was in tweets, I learned about attacking targets of opportunities. When I was in T-37s, I had an IP. His name was Russell Sweets. And I mention him because he's very dear in my heart. And Russ was just a great IP. Whoever thought about pairing him up with me just really hit the nail on the head. We just got along fabulously. Anyway, I'd be flying along in that tweet, maybe struggling with something or another, and Russ could sense it. He'd say, "Bob, I got the airplane." And I said, "Okay." I said, "I got something we need to do." And so I'm sitting there perplexed, as you might imagine. He'd take the airplane, pull it up into a Whifferdale type maneuver, and then roll out heading downhill. He says, "That's a Chi-Com cloud out there. We need to destroy it." So he'd be coming downhill in his tweet, attacking a cloud. And then we'd attack it and blow through it, and so be it. And then we go back to work. But, God, I love that guy. Unfortunately, Russ passed away about 18 months after we graduated. And he had a melanoma. And I missed him ever since. But anyway, I digress here a minute. Somebody asked me if I miss flying. I miss the T-38. God, I miss it terribly. And I miss the C-141. I miss the HC-130. But I miss Air Force flying. That was my passion. Truly my passion. And I loved every moment of it. And there were times in the airlines I enjoyed the flying there. But it was totally different at the airlines. I can honestly sit here and tell you without reservation, I never stopped midway up the jet bridge after landing in Detroit, took pause to look over at the co-pilot and said, "Damn, that was a shit-hot ILS," and high-fived him. Nor did I ever take the opportunity to acknowledge what a great crew meal that was we had over Kansas. Just didn't happen. But in the Air Force, as you can see from these stories, these have stayed with me, and they're part of my fiber. And I loved working with most of my commanders, my peers, the people that work for me, and the students. God, I love working with those guys, those people. But anyway, you get the idea. The last thing here in the February church notes, somebody asked about the name 3's In. You can find a expanded description of this in the introduction way back at the beginning of these videos. But as a recap, when we fly 4-ship flights over stadiums or cities or sometimes over cemeteries, and we perform the missing man formation, it's always number 3 who pulls up into the heavens. And so keeping that in mind, when the POWs came back from jail up in North Vietnam, there were several of them that wanted to get back into flying and to get back on status. So if they were physically and mentally qualified or capable, they came to our squadron at that time, the 560th Flying Training Squadron, for requal. Now, the first ride they got in the airplane, they were given an individual call sign. It was Freedom. It was just used that one time, Freedom 01, 02, 03, and so forth. And that was considered their champagne flight because in Vietnam, once you had 100 missions and came back and landed, the other members in the wing would meet you as you shut down and offer you a bottle of champagne. Well, these guys never had a champagne flight because they were shot down prior to getting it. So when they would go up on their freedom flight and come back down, we always had a bottle of champagne for them, and hence the name, the champagne flight. Okay, now taking that, in the squadron, we created a social room. And it's where we would gather for festivities, whatever events came to mind. And we named it Three's In because we felt that Three's In was appropriate considering these guys had been away from us. And now they came back and they rejoined the formation, making us complete. Three's In. And one of the other uses of Three's In that we use, we would gather there after flying with a couple beers and sit around and start telling these stories I'm sharing with you. So it's my way of honoring that tradition of telling stories in Three's In and laughing, and sometimes yes, sometimes tears came to our eyes with some of the stories we shared. But at any rate, it comes back to honor. It's my way of honoring the POWs. It's my way of honoring the 560th Flying Training Squadron, and my way of honoring the privilege I had for flying the T-38 for all those years. So enjoy. I invite you to grab a cup of coffee every now and then, sit down with me, and let me share a couple stories with you. I'm always glad to see you. The last thing I'll leave you with here this morning is I try to keep some personalities in mind when I'm making these videos. One of the most prominent is Red Skelton. As a kid, I just loved his shows. And so I try to keep him in mind when I read your comments and as I make these videos. I'm very humble that you would listen to me and the stories I have to share. I love telling them, but the fact that I see so many heartwarming comments just touches my heart. So I am very, very appreciative. And as Red would say, may good night, although it's morning. Good morning, and may God bless. Thanks for stopping by. And now I'm down to min fuel. See ya.